Story 10. Okay, this one is titled Louie, his cousin, and his other cousin. Louie is a boy that lived in a basement apartment below Meme's house. He's Puerto Rican, and Louie's girl cousin is named Marin. That's the first cousin. She wears dark pantyhose and lots of makeup. The rest of her own family is back in Puerto Rico, and she spends her days babysitting Louie's little sisters. Esperanza remembers how Marin stands in the doorway just singing the same song over and over again. Apple, peaches, pumpkin pie, you're in love and so am I. So over and over she would just repeat that song. Marin is basically another example of a female who is limited in her activities, and therefore limited in her power as a person. Louie's other cousin is basically a thief. One day, Esperanza remembers that he drives up in a big yellow Cadillac with plush white seats, and he gave the kids a ride around the block. But that ended when he heard sirens. So he told everyone to get out of the car, and he tried to take off in the car and run from the cops. But that didn't last very long because he ended up crashing the car at the end of the block. So that just, every time I read that chapter, it just reminds me of this song. I think it's by Queen Latifah. And the chorus goes like, just another day living in the hood, just another day around the way. Feeling good today, I'm feeling lovely. Yeah, so this day was just another day in the hood for Esperanza. Story 11 is called Marin. It's about Marin. Marin has dreams too, you know. She has secret plans to marry her boyfriend back in Puerto Rico, even though he doesn't have a job yet. But, you know, if she stays another year in Chicago, she plans on working downtown because, I mean, that's where all the best jobs are. You know, you always get to look beautiful and get to wear nice clothes and meet someone in the subway who might marry you and take you to live in a big house far away. And those are in Marin's words. This idea that Marin has was pretty typical of many females. You know, you look beautiful just to get a man who will be able to take care of you. And that's the kind of attitude that Marin has, you know, that Prince Charming daydream. Some guy's gonna come and sweep you off your feet because he thinks you're the most beautiful woman in the world, and he'll take care of you for the rest of your life and you won't have to do anything but look beautiful. Esperanza really likes Marin because she learns a lot of girl stuff from Marin. You know, she also learns a lot of things about life, things that you would learn from a big sister. But Esperanza is a little disappointed to learn that Louie's parents will be sending Marin back to Puerto Rico soon just because they say that she's too much trouble for them. Marin is not allowed to leave the house, and even then she can only go to the front yard. She's not allowed to leave and go off and, you know, hang out on the block or anything like that. She smokes cigarettes at night, and she really likes to flirt with the boys. Marin is all about her body and beauty and boys and dreaming about how one of these boys may change her life one day. You know, she's the type of girl who will spend her whole life waiting for a man to take care of her. Story 12 is called Those Who Don't. This chapter delves deeply into the type of attitude that people like Kathy have. Those who don't know better, okay? Those people who get lost and end up in Esperanza's neighborhood, you know, who are scared that the Hispanics are going to cut them with a knife if they, you know, don't lock their car doors or roll up their windows or something crazy like that. Of course, you know, people that live in the neighborhood, they know who all the scary people are. So, I mean, they're not scared. You know, they know who Crazy Eddie is, or, you know, they know who that big dude is with the scar on his face, you know. But people who get lost in the neighborhood who are unfamiliar, they see all these Hispanics around, they get nervous and start locking the doors. But you know what? Esperanza makes a great point. She points out that, you know, that it goes both ways. You know, the brown-skinned people aren't different from those other people who fear them. And on page 28, she says that all brown, all around, we're safe. In other words, we feel safe around people who look like us, who are like us. But watch us drive into a neighborhood of another color, and our knees go shakety shake, and our car windows get rolled up tight, and our eyes look straight. Yeah, that is how it goes and goes. So, I mean, it's not just like white people or whoever, they get scared when they go into a neighborhood that's predominantly of another race. Other races do that too. She's talking about her own people, Hispanics. They do that when they get lost in another people's neighborhood, So, I mean, this prejudice stuff, it's not limited to just one race. That's what she's pointing out. Story 13. This one is titled, There Was an Old Woman. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. This here is basically another portrait of a Latino woman, Rosa Vargas. These are the Vargases, okay, that were mentioned earlier in the book. And these are the bad kids who show no respect to anyone, including themselves. These are the kids that Esperanza and her sister get warned not to hang around. These kids, these Vargases, they spit at people who try to keep them from getting hurt. If an adult sees them like about to jump off like a fire escape or something, they're like, no, be careful, you're gonna hurt yourself. They'll just spit at them. So, I mean, eventually people stop caring about kids like that, and that's exactly what happened. People stop caring about what the Vargas kids did, and whether or not they hurt themselves. I mean, who wants to get spit in the face for trying to look out for somebody, right? So that's why no one had anything to say when Angel Vargas learned how to fly and killed himself. Their own mom, she didn't even really care about the kids. She was too busy being tired from taking care of so many babies, and crying over the man who flat deserted her and the kids, left her with no money, nothing. So no explanation about why he left or anything. So basically she cares more about not having a man and crying over the man that left her than she does about her own children doing well and being safe. Story 14. Alicia, who sees mice. Okay, this is a pretty short vignette, so I'm going to read it to you and then just give it a few comments afterwards. Alicia, who sees mice. Close your eyes and they'll go away, her father says. Or, you're just imagining. And anyway, a woman's place is sleeping so she can wake up early with a tortilla star, the one that appears early just in time to rise and catch the hind legs hide behind the sink, beneath the four-clawed tub, under the swollen floorboards nobody fixes, in the corner of your eyes. Alicia, whose mama died, is sorry there's no one older to rise and make the lunchbox tortillas. Alicia, who inherited her mama's rolling pin and sleepiness, is young and smart and studies for the first time at the university. 2 trains and a bus because she doesn't want to spend her whole life in a factory or behind a rolling pin. Is a good girl, my friend, studies all night and sees the mice, the ones her father says do not exist. Is afraid of nothing except 4-legged fur and fathers. So basically, Alicia is this girl whose mom is gone, and her father expects her to take up the duties of a wife. So Alicia cooks and cleans, and he's basically of the thought that a woman's place is being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, that kind of thing, that kind of chauvinistic attitude. And she's scared to death of mice. She's up late studying, and she sees like the mice just creeping around the house. And she's up early in order to do the cleaning and the cooking and the things that her father expects her to do. But, she knows that she doesn't want to do that for the rest of her life. But basically, Alicia, this is one chica that Esperanza can look up to. Alicia doesn't want to live under the command of a male chauvinist for the rest of her life. She intends on breaking out of that cage before she becomes stuck there for life. And she's doing that by studying, and just being able to provide for herself later on, using education as a way out, instead of, like Marin, trying to use her beauty and her looks as a way out. Alicia is using her mind. Story 15 is called Darius and the Clouds. I'm going to read you the first paragraph. And you can never have too much sky. You can fall asleep and wake up drunk on sky. And sky can keep you safe when you're sad. Here, there's too much sadness and not enough sky. Butterflies too are few, and so are flowers, and most things that are beautiful. Still, we take what we can get and make the best of it. Shouldn't we all do that? Make the best of what we have? Sounds easy, right? There aren't too many positive influences or images around Esperanza and the other children in the neighborhood, but they do try to work past that. Darius is a typical young boy who does not like school and who likes to tease girls. One day he looks up and he points out a cloud to the others. He says, "Hey, that cloud is God." Simple as that, just as simple as that. He looks up and Esperanza said that was like the smartest thing he's ever said. That cloud is God. But to me, what I read into that is that's hope. That's believing in something greater than yourself and your present circumstances. So the fact that he looked up there and he saw God in the cloud, that's a symbol of hope. And I think that gives Esperanza inspiration to keep hoping and keep striving to do better than her present circumstances, seeing beyond what life is like now and seeing what it can be. Story 16, and some more. This chapter always makes me laugh because I can imagine the two separate conversations overlapping each other. Nenny, who's in her world of naming clouds, versus Esperanza, who's fighting with Rachel and Lucy. Esperanza sparks a conversation on how certain things have multiple names. For example, Eskimos have 30 different names for snow. And Rachel says that, she has a cousin with 3 last names and 2 first names. Esperanza also mentions that clouds have different names as well. Well, this sends Nenny on a cloud naming expedition. So she basically spends a whole chapter, naming all the clouds that she sees, and it's pretty cool. Esperanza is focused on the scientific names of the types of clouds, like cumulus and nimbus, while Nenny is focused on giving each cloud its own name, like people, people that she knows, that she's familiar with, such as Jose, Dagoberto, Alicia, Raul, Edna, Alma, Reiki. So while the chapter Laughter showed comparisons between the two sisters, Esperanza and Nenny, this chapter shows a fundamental difference in their thoughts. Nenny is limited in her thinking to what she sees, to her surroundings, hence naming the clouds after people she knows. Esperanza, on the other hand, is thinking beyond her surroundings. She does not limit herself to just what she sees. She's looking at bigger things, more of what the world has to offer. So, while Nenny is busy naming clouds, Esperanza, Rachel, and Lucy are bickering because someone insulted Esperanza, saying that a cloud looked like Esperanza's fat face. So Esperanza was not just gonna let that go. So they began going back and forth with the insults while Nenny kept on naming clouds. And I'll just read you an excerpt starting on page 37 till the end of the chapter. Okay. I can think of 30 Eskimo words for you, Rachel. 30 words that say what you are. And this is Esperanza talking. Oh, yeah? Well, I can think of some more. Uh-oh, Nenny. Better get the broom. Too much trash in our yard today. Frankie, Licha, Maria, Pee-wee. Nenny, you better tell your sister she's really crazy because Lucy and me are never coming back here again. Forever. Reggie, Elizabeth, Lisa, Louie. You can do what you want to do, Nenny, but you better not talk to Lucy or Rachel if you want to be my sister. You know what you are, Esperanza? You're like the cream of wheat cereal. You're like the lumps. Yeah? And you're foot fleece. That's you. Chicken lips. Rosemary, Dahlia, Lily. Cockroach jelly. Jean, geranium, Joe. Con frijoles. Mimi, Michael, Mo. Your mama's frijoles. Your ugly mama's toes. That's stupid. Bebe, Blanca, Benny. Who's stupid? Rachel, Lucy, Esperanza, and Nanny. Dude, that is a monster iguana. Thing is huge. Jeez, I'm good.